Okay, we're live. It's James Maduk speaking, trainingsites.io. What are we going to talk about today? Well, something happened. There's always something happen. I talk about these, I try and do these videos every day for trainingsites.io. And it's all stuff I talk about starting, building, growing an education business, and especially using AI in that process. And it seems that every time I come on, well, here's what happened today, or here's how everything's changed today. And I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately, but it's one of those days when, yes, everything has changed again today. And again, if you haven't been to the channel, it's at Training Sites. So it's youtube.com at Training Sites. I do all of these different videos, and every day there's something that's changing that affects the traditional way of creating courses. And yesterday was another one of those days. The time before that was last Friday, and I think it was Wednesday before that. So there's been three major, really, really big changes in the last 10 to 14 days that have made me rethink about the whole space about being able to sell courses, create and sell courses. And again, whether that's being a content creator or like a traditional course creator, all of this AI stuff is completely disrupting the way that we always did everything. So after what I saw on Saturday, which I'm going to talk about in a second, I think it's time to like pull the fire alarm. This it's happening really, really quickly, and I'm going to go over three things and then show you how I think we can fix it. But I'm going to give you three reasons on why it's time to pull the fire alarm when it comes to the traditional way of creating and selling courses. If you're in the education business, I'm not talking about, I want to sell a single course and make $10,000 this week. I'm going to jam a course down someone's throat. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, hey, let's look in 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years from now, something that's sustainable and something that's actually a business. So here's kind of the big thing that came to me. And again, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know how fast it was coming. And if you've watched any of the other videos that I do, it's always something about, so and so is going to be replaced, or so and so kills this, or this AI tool kills this. And I didn't really have an idea on how fast it would actually come until I watched a little bit of a video that came out. It looks like 6 days ago it was streamed here. I'll try and zoom this up so you can see a little bit. And again, I'll put the link to it as well. So this was the future of U.S. AI leadership with CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, and this one is the Council of Foreign Relations. So this was streamed a couple days ago. And this guy here, this guy on the left, let me just make sure I'm in the right one. There we go. This guy on the left here, he's the CEO of Anthropic. And if you don't know who Anthropic is, just get my screen back to normal here. Anthropic is the parent company of Claude 3.7. And Anthropic is funded by this funny little company called Amazon, which I think put 2.5 or 3.5 billion dollars in. I can't remember which one is accurate. But they've got a lot of backing. They're the ones that create Claude. Claude just came out with a brand new model, 3.7, last week or the week before, which I did a whole bunch of videos on. So these guys here, they got a really cool thing with software coding that came out with this brand new version 3.7 10 days ago. Um, and I watch this, I pay attention to this stuff. I subscribe to a whole bunch of, kind of techie AI channels just so I can, keep my toe in the water to find out what's going on in the space. And it's not about for me learning how to code stuff. I am always looking and saying, okay, great. How can I take the AI stuff that they're talking about and how can I apply it to creating content, specifically educational content? So that's always a perspective that I look at it from. And I've been kind of say, the content's changing very quickly, or ability to change content. But the one thing that this guy put together in my head, or kind of the other shoe dropped, is when he was being interviewed, he was talking a little bit about what's going to happen for software developers or software coders. And he said that 90% of the software development or software coding that is done in 3 to 6 months will be done by AI. So I remember when I was growing up, like software developers were like, that was, oh my God, you can write code, you're a software developer. There was a whole thing around computer science departments and coding. I don't know how to do any of that, but I know that there's a lot of work and a lot of people involved in that space. And then here's a guy saying that in 3 to 6 months, not 3 to 6 years, 3 to 6 months, 90% of them, their jobs will be replaced by a tool like Claude. So I'm sitting there going, holy, what does that mean to us as a course creator? So I started thinking about, okay, well, I got a course and I'm creating content. What's actually happening in the course content creation space? So let's go back 2 weeks ago and then just think about this for another second. And again, maybe I'll bring the pages up here if I can. And I did a bunch of videos on these. And if you haven't already, make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join there. That's my free campus, my learning community where I teach people how to start, build, and grow education businesses. Again, it's all free, the community, the courses. All of my content is here and available for free. But the ones that kind of jumped out at me is, and I'll get to these ones. I don't actually, I won't show you the websites because I'll put the links below. There's not anything that's specific we're going to be reading from them, but one was ChatGPT. They did a thing called deep research, which I got access to. And then Anthropic had this 3.7 version, which is really, really good at doing complex thinking, long kind of jobs. Um, and you still have to give it the job, but it's really good at doing these big jobs. So, deep research, the whole idea of deep research, and again, I'll put the links below, is that you can say, like, I want to find out about this. And then what you say is, go and give me everything that you got about it. I want you to go check all sorts of sources. I want you to go reference and cross reference everything. I want you to think about how they affect each other. And then I want you to give me a report. So that was the deep research side that is available from ChatGPT and OpenAI. That came out, I guess, for me, I got access to it about 2 weeks ago. And then Claude comes out with this 3.7 one, which is really good at spitting out final results based on a big, long, complex kind of job that you give it. So what I did is I said, you know what? They're talking about software development that's being done. We just did deep research. In that one example that I was talking about there, which I was saying, why don't we do a video on something? So I did a video that was called Vibe Courses. And Vibe Courses comes from Vibe content or Vibe coding. And that whole thing with the coders was they just basically said, I want you to write a software application that does this. And the tool just goes out and creates the software app, writes the code, interface, everything is just done. So I said, well, why don't we do that for a course? I did the deep research. Here's all of the background information. I didn't go look it up. I didn't go and have lived all that experience, but for the content or the creation of the content, I had a deep research. It came out, an example I did, it was 53 pages of content. It took 48 pages of content. It took 53 minutes for ChatGPT to actually create the report. And then I had this final report on everything that you would like to see in a course on this. And what I did is I had that report. So I said, you know what? Well, why don't we go to Claude, this brand new version of Claude? I uploaded the document and I said, I want you to create a course based on this document. All of my research is here. I want you to build a complete course based on this document. And what it did is it actually did the syllabus, the video scripts, the lesson text, the organization, the formatting of it. It did text to be created to audio and the text to create video images and or graphics for it. It created the landing pages, the sales pages, the email series to go out, the social media posts to go out, the marketing messages. It did everything from start to finish. So writing code is one thing. 30 to 60 days, all the code, 90% of the code's being written. What's going to happen in 30 to 60 days now when we have those two tools that basically created a course that I didn't even put together? Now, I'm not saying that it was perfect. I'm not saying it wouldn't have to be changed, but you get the idea there. The playing field for creating course content or building a business or trying to earn money selling courses, 3 to 6 months, like, pull the fire alarms. This is a 3 alarm fire. This is all changing and it's going to happen really quickly and it's going to happen this year. And the scariest part for me is I get excited about this. It's like scary and exciting. And I can tell you why I think it's exciting, but I want to tell you one other thing. And I say three-alarm fire. It's like one is this whole thing about people getting replaced in 3 to 6 months. The second one is that we've got these tools that do the deep research and the AI. The other one that happened on last week was called Manus.im. And Manus was the first real agent that basically you said, you know what? Create the course. Not only did it go and create the course and send the emails and actually created a web page or a sales page for it. So it actually did the work. Not only give you the information, it did the work. So now it's like handing off stuff and it's done. So you're probably going to, well, how does that help me? And it should scare you in knowing that you can't look at things, or at least I know for me personally, I'm not looking at stuff the way that I looked at it before. If I go and I take a look at, even some of my videos, there's cool stuff with AI. I say, create a syllabus. Yeah. Create the lesson text. Yeah. Create a quiz for each of these lessons. Yeah. Create a handout that goes with it and convert it to a PDF. Yeah. Perfect. Do a checklist. Yeah. Do a journal. All of these things are great for spitting out content, but that job is going to be replaced and automated sooner rather than later. And if you're focusing on doing that now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, where are we going to be at with this? We have to think a little bit differently. And that's where I've been playing around and what I'm going to try and focus on for the next little while. And again, when I'm doing all of these things, I don't come up with these ideas myself. I come up with questions and then I use ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and all of these tools to kind of round out and flesh stuff out. And this is exactly what I've been doing over the weekend here, and why the videos I'm going to be doing over the next little while are kind of piecing this together, where with what I want to do and what my business is about, which is basically helping people start building their own education business by teaching them how to do it. And I think this is the thing that we're going to have to be really, really careful of, is that I've got a whole bunch of courses here on my campus. And again, it's free to join. This content is free. It's organized. It's about processes and workflows and things that you can use. And the purpose of the courses has always been to share my story, my information about it. But if we're getting to the point in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, this content is basically a prompt or two away from you with an AI tool. So what is it that would make my kind of campus or my learning community different than yours or someone else's? And here's the big change that I think is coming. So anytime that you create course content the traditional way right now, what usually happens is that content is uh, basically doing something about recall and recognition. So we basically organize some content, we massage it with ChatGPT, we maybe spend a whole bunch of time, energy, and effort doing fancy videos, but it is basically about us giving content and hoping people will recall it. And we've always been pretty good at that. Took a lot of time, energy, and effort. AI tools have now streamlined that and just made us far more productive in our ability to create content. But at the end of the day, for teaching, all we're doing is we're putting this stuff out and hoping that we present it in a way that you actually recalled it. And any of these, when it's like whenever it's something like a recall and recognition one, that's kind of surface learning, right? It's stuff about, yes, I remember the points, or yes, I remember this is what to do, or yes, I remember an answer to a question. Um, but there's no personalization in terms of how does this affect me, or how do I apply it in my unique situation, or what is the implication of how I do things based to that information or content that I've recalled. There's none of that available right now. If it's just static content that's being brought out by you and or um, the content or the AI tool. And these are all passive activities, right? So you're not engaged in the actual learning of it. You're just following along. It's not something that you're actively participating in if you're trying to learn something. And this is where the huge opportunity is for all of us. And I think anyone that is in the learning or education business, because the course business, I think, is coming back to roost when it comes to teaching or being a teacher or a guide or mentor throughout this entire process. And what am I talking about? Um, it's more about not saying this is the content and you should be able to recall this and having one size fits all. It's more about instead of asking what is X, it's like, how do you use X to solve this problem? Or how do you use that to get this? Or how do you apply that? Or what are the consequences of doing that? And these are the things that, as a teacher or someone who is actively involved with someone, whether it be on Zoom or any of these teaching online or virtual teaching tools, you asking those questions is where the huge value is in the excitement, because you're going to get to work one-on-one with people. So, things like anything to have to do with marketing or strategy, or you can lay out a strategy for people, but if they don't apply it or only parts should be applied, having someone there to know from experience that this strategy works well in this situation, this one doesn't work in that particular one. Those are all things that you can do. And even if it is AI stuff that you're doing, being able to say, here's the prompt, go write it, and let's see what you get out of it, and let's evaluate it and do some analysis. And this is how you do the evaluation and the analysis using the AI tool. So these are all things that are really, really cool, whether it has to do with actually applying the stuff that is learned using AI tools to apply it, using scenarios. How would you do this? Or what is it that you can recall? Or how would this tool apply to this particular one? Being able to have feedback from people. I did this and got this response. What did you guys do when you used it? Did you use the same prompt? What response did you get back? If you applied that, what are the things that happened to you in that particular place? So these kind of checklists and things that you were traditionally doing, get kind of handing off to people. I think the real value here is that you can upcharge or upskill people and treat it as a business by creating this content but also being able to teach people and to guide people through it. So, I get excited about these things, and I don't want to be too preachy about it, but I don't know if preachy is the right word about it, but I just, I'm doing this personally and I'm excited about it. And I'm going to see for my stuff, I'm going to try and pivot it a little more about being more live training in as much as the content is there. I'm still going to create YouTube videos. It's a big part of it, just sharing the stuff that I'm thinking about, the experiences that I've had and the stuff that I've run into to share it with you. I'm continue to do that. But in terms of my campus, my courses, the focus that's going to happen for me personally is you're going to see a lot more of the live classes starting. And those are the things where they're actually going to be live calls where people who are interested in applying any of this stuff, this is the one that you're going to end up seeing me be a lot more involved in. And whether it's building your AI learning community, whether it's about building content using AI tools, whether it's about marketing the particular thing, these are the areas that that I'm going to be focusing on and working on over the next little while. So, if this is something that's of interest to you, I'd love, of course, that if you go, let me just pull this one up here. Go to trainingsites.io. There we get my screen to work. Yeah, trainingsites.io/join. The community is free to join here. We can interact in any of the groups or spaces. The courses are free. Everything's there for you to at least find out what's going on here. And as I share all of this stuff that's happening so quickly, all I'm trying to do is do my best and try and keep it focused on how can I start, build, and grow an education business and earn some money selling my experience and selling my knowledge and all the stuff that I've collected and being able to share with you how I did something. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you want, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm here every day, maybe once or twice a day sometimes. Stuff comes to my head, stuff changes in this space, so I try and get it out as quickly as possible. So my name is James. Take care, expect the best. We'll be back later with another great video.